Deadrails' lore is hinting at something massive. Locations like the castle, Fort Constitution, and the Tesla lab aren't just for show. There's a hidden story here. And with myths like vampires, werewolves, and even unicorns, RMC Games is building towards something big. And I think I have it figured out. I'm BloxyPicks, and sit back and relax as I unravel the mystery surrounding the story of Deadrails. August 6, 1895. In the Tesla lab, Nikola Tesla and his team received a telegraph from Washington, D.C. about sending over funds for the development of a bioweapon for quote-unquote military purposes. The goal of it was for it to mimic the effects of the yellow fever within a year of the telegraph being sent. January 2nd, 1896. Nikola Tesla and his team received another telegraph thanking him for the swift development of the bioweapon and the request to order 100 barrels of the latest prototype dubbed Agent 15. Remember that will be important later on. February 6, 1898. Washington sends a telegraph to Captain Prescott residing in Fort Constitution to notify him about shipments of metal barrels with the label Agent 15 sometime that day. He's also ordered to hold them for 2 days before a carrier will pick them up and load them onto the USS Maine. February 16, 1898. Captain Prescott is urgently notified by Washington in a telegraph that instructed him to quote, burn all prior telegraphs that contain Agent 15 and USS Maine, and report it when it's done. February 17, 1898. Captain Prescott is urgently notified by Washington again to report to the chain of command. If he fails, however, he and his company will be formally charged with desertion, cowardice, and defection to an enemy nation. Talking about being bugged to do some, huh? Hey, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. Only if you're enjoying it, since, well, I'm a really smart creator, and my goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Ambitious? Yeah, I know. But I can't do it without your guys' help. Thank you. June 21st, 1899. A new form of influenza is spreading throughout the nation. Health officials reported over 1,000 new cases in Texas alone. They urged the reader, if they experience a fever, to limit their exposure to others. And interestingly, they also said that the long-term effects are yet to be discovered. June 22nd, 1899. Dozens of towns in San Antonio, USA have reported looting. Sources say that it is caused by the recent news of the virus, which is that the virus causes violent and unexplained mental effects. They urge people to limit exposure to anyone who shows symptoms of the virus. June 25th, 1899. Martial law was declared. It was reported that it has been 4 days since the virus, now given a name, the zombie plague, started to spread throughout the nation. Due to the mysterious violent effects of the virus, President McKinley has ordered martial law to regain control. The newspaper also reported that if any readers are reading and want to aid in the effort, they urge them to visit their local recruiting station. July 5th, 1899. Government officials announced today that Mexican scientists have successfully developed a treatment for the zombie plague. Authority figures are urging all survivors to seek refuge in the capital, where the cure will be distributed. The breakthrough is expected to bring new hope to the community still grasping of the crisis. And that's all the information we get from the games. Now, I know you have a lot of questions. What is Agent 15? What happened to the Tesla lab? Why do we find it in the condition it is in game? Why didn't Captain Prescott respond to the urgent orders? Why did Washington want Captain Prescott to burn all telegraphs mentioning Agent 15 or USS Maine? Well, it doesn't come as shocking, but Agent 15 is the bioweapon developed by Tesla and his team for the United States government for military purposes. It is also the bioweapon that caused the zombie plague. Now, we know that in the universe of Deadrails, myths like vampires, werewolves, and even unicorns exist. It is likely that Tesla used some sort of magical power in the making of Agent 15. In the Tesla lab, on what I presume is Nikola Tesla's desk, lies a note in between the books that reads, "Whoever finds this note, my name is Nikola Tesla. My workers and I were exposed to a bioweapon. I will have a total performed in order to stop the virus from spreading to my brain. Take me to the top scientist to rebuild me. Now from that, we find Nikola Tesla's head in a jar next to the note. It can be assumed that the virus spread among Nikola Tesla and his team working in the Tesla lab, and that's why we find it in such a decrepit state. If you decide to put Tesla back together and activate the machine, a horde of zombies with lab coats will spawn and attack you. After a while, the machine stops running and we're left with footprints indicating that Tesla did come back to life and fled the chaos. At the end of the game, we'll find him in his new form, but unbeknownst to you, he has the intention of attacking you. To the reason why he attacked you, well, I'll let you discuss it in the comments down below. The reason why Captain Prescott didn't respond to Washington in the telegraphs is, well, he couldn't. As we see in the game, when we visit Fort Constitution, Captain Prescott and his men are already turned into zombies, so we can infer this as they had been turned into zombies sometime after the barrel's arrival. Well, it's because on February 15th, 1898, the USS Maine sank due to an explosion, which was blamed on the Spanish. However, it was also speculated that a coal bunker fire was the reason for the explosion. Either way, the USS Maine must have been carrying Agent 15 at the time that it sank, which is why Washington urged Captain Prescott to burn all previous telegraphs about Agent 15 and USS Maine. Tensions with the US and Spain were rising even before they ordered Nikola Tesla to create the bioweapon, so the quote-unquote bioweapon used for military purposes is probably for them to prepare for an upcoming war. But since the ship sank and Washington urged Captain Prescott to burn all prior telegraphs, that must have meant that Agent 15 must have leaked out, which started the outbreak. With all of that being said, what do we make out of all of this? So we know who, what, when, where, and why about the zombie apocalypse. But dare I ask the question, what happens after that? Well, let me run you down through what I think will happen in the in-game world of deadrails. And I'm going to prove it to you with only one in-game feature. What is this feature, you may ask? The classes. Let me explain. Inside the multiple towns of deadrails, you can find newspapers referencing the cure, and for all survivors to seek refuge in the capital, where the cure will be distributed. You can find this newspaper basically everywhere in the game, so we can definitively say that those newspapers were distributed among the masses after the outbreak. And we can see that it's true as well. As you progressively go forward on your journey in deadrails, there will be more zombies spawning in towns. And even at the end of the game, a huge horde of zombies rush and attack you as you try to escape to the other side, which means that there's a larger concentration of people near south of the border. So what does this have to do with the classes, you may ask? Well, in deadrails, you can play as different classes in this game. As of now, there are currently 12 classes: the Doctor, the Ironclad, the Priest, the Alamo, the Arsonist, the High Roller, the Survivalist, the Vampire, the Conductor, the Miner, the Cowboy, and the Zombie. Now you might think it's just a game design choice for improving the replayability of this game, and it is. But there's another reason why they made this. These classes represent the people going to the capital to get the cure. People with different backgrounds, lives, and morals are being directed to the capital city of Mexico. This isn't just happening in Texas where the game is located, but the entirety of the United States. Ever since the death and destruction caused by the outbreak, the amount of innocent people that got turned into zombies has left a desolate civilization in its wake, and that's where we come in. As the survivors of this apocalypse, we can rebuild the world from the remains into a new one by gathering as much people as we can with different capabilities and specialties that not only survives but thrives. I'm BloxyPicks, and always remember to like and subscribe for more.